Rich and Poor, or Saint and Sinner, is a poem by the English poet Thomas Love Peacock. Each stanza has an AABBA rhyme scheme and a limerick style. It has 40 verses divided into 8 stanzas. Each stanza is a quinton, meaning it has 5 verses. Don't forget to subscribe. The first stanza highlights the poor man's visible sins. A poor man's small actions, such as buying food on a Sunday, are easily condemned as sinful. The overt act suggests something scandalous, yet it is just buying food. The phrase ghostly warning suggests religious or societal disapproval of grocery shopping at a time when the poor man should be in church on a Sunday. The irony here is that the act of purchasing food, a basic necessity, is framed as a crime, emphasizing how harshly the poor are judged for even minor transgressions. The poet questions why society or religion would police such trivial actions while ignoring greater injustices. The second stanza talks about the rich man's sins. This stanza contrasts the rich, whose wealth and status conceal wrongdoings. The phrase pomp of wealth and station suggests that their social position protects them from scrutiny. The children of light likely refers to people who claim moral superiority and who fail to see these sins, implying hypocrisy. They are wise in practical matters but blind to deeper injustices. The poor are judged harshly, while the rich escape notice. Wealth shields the rich from moral accountability. The third stanza critiques social structures and discusses the hypocrisy of necessity. Basic needs, cooking and eating, become a moral issue for the poor. The rich have private kitchens and cooks, while the poor must rely on public bakeries, exposing them to judgment. The irony here is that necessity forces the poor into the use of public resources where they can be criticized, even though they have no choice. The rich have private spaces for their needs, the poor must rely on public access and face judgment. The fourth stanza passes judgment on drinking and hypocrisy. The rich have private cellars and butlers, allowing them to drink discreetly. The poor must go to public taverns, where they are seen and judged by religious or moral figures or the saint. Again, the issue is not the action itself, but the exposure and visibility of it. The irony is that the saint cannot help but see and judge the poor yet ignores the rich doing the same thing. Thus, morality is applied unequally based on class. The fifth stanza contrasts the rich's refined entertainment with the poor's simple pleasures. The rich have painted windows, which symbolize luxury and exclusivity, hiding their grand concerts from public scrutiny. Meanwhile, the poor make do with a cracked fiddle in the air, suggesting cheap, possibly out-of-tune music played in open spaces. Painted windows symbolize wealth and secrecy, while the cracked fiddle represents poverty and makeshift entertainment. The irony is that while the rich's entertainment is seen as sophisticated, the poor's music is considered offensive to morality. The rich's pleasures are private and acceptable, while the poor's harmless fun is labeled immoral. The sixth stanza discusses how the rich can blend into their high society gatherings, making them effectively invisible to moral judgment. On the other hand, the poor man's happiness is seen as offensive, his joy becomes a sore in the sight and a stench in the nose of propriety, suggesting that society looks down on his public enjoyment. The rich's invisibility juxtaposes with the poor's extreme visibility. That is, society ignores the excesses of the wealthy but harshly judges the poor for finding joy. The seventh stanza contrasts how the rich travel in private carriages, protected from judgment, while the poor travel in third-class train compartments, fully exposed to the public. The carriage represents luxury and privacy, while the third-class train symbolizes exposure and shame. The phrase "daylight all about him" emphasizes that the poor man has nowhere to hide, unlike the rich. The rich can control their environment, while the poor are constantly watched. The last stanza shows how even leisure activities are judged differently. The rich can go yachting, an exclusive and expensive activity, where sanctity can't pursue him, meaning religious or moral scrutiny doesn't apply to them. But if a poor person takes a simple boat ride, religious figures like bishops groan in disapproval. The yacht represents privilege and freedom, the four-penny boat symbolizes affordability but also shame. The rich escape judgment, while the poor are criticized for something far more modest. The church and moral authorities seem to judge only the poor. Let's thematically analyze Rich and Poor, or Saint and Sinner by Thomas Love Peacock. The title of the poem, Rich and Poor, or Saint and Sinner, directly links wealth with morality, implying that being rich is associated with being saintly, while being poor equates to being sinful. This reflects the Victorian mindset, where people's moral worth was often judged based on their social class. Throughout the poem, the rich are given positive-sounding labels like quality, saints, gay society, and propriety, suggesting they are virtuous and beyond reproach. On the other hand, the poor are called sinners and rude, implying they are naturally immoral or offensive. However, the poem is deeply ironic. It doesn't support these stereotypes but instead criticizes them. When Peacock calls the wealthy saints, he isn't praising them, he's exposing how society falsely elevates the rich while looking down on the poor. The poem also mocks those who judge others, referring to them as the children of light, a phrase from the Bible. Peacock twists this term to highlight the hypocrisy of religious leaders, like bishops and self-righteous moralists, who are quick to condemn the poor while ignoring the wrongdoing of the rich. When he says they are wise in their generation, he doesn't mean they are truly wise, rather, he sarcastically suggests they are prejudiced and uncaring. The poem offers a critique of class-based hypocrisy to highlight how the rich enjoy privileges that shield them from moral scrutiny while the poor are subjected to harsh judgment for simply existing. Wealth not only provides comfort but also a form of invisibility, whereas poverty leaves individuals exposed to condemnation. Secrecy becomes a tool of social privilege. The rich can conceal their pleasures, excesses, and sins, whereas the poor, who often partake in far less indulgent activities, are shamed and policed. The painted windows symbolize how the rich can hide their lavish entertainment from public or moral scrutiny. In contrast, the poor's cracked fiddle is not only visible but also offends all sound morality, highlighting how entertainment for the wealthy is seen as cultured, while that of the poor is ridiculed. The rich are invisible within their elite circles, suggesting they are protected from societal or religious criticism. Meanwhile, the poor's enjoyment is a sore in the sight and a stench in the nose of propriety, portraying how the mere presence of poor people celebrating is considered offensive. While the wealthy enjoy seclusion and discretion, the poor are constantly watched and policed, reinforcing their lack of social agency. The rich man's carriage shields him from rude eyes, offering privacy and protection. Meanwhile, the poor man must travel in a third-class train, where he is fully exposed to public scrutiny, suggesting that society ensures that the lower class remains visible so they can be judged. The poem critiques how social inequality dictates morality. The same actions are judged differently depending on class. Hope you share and subscribe for more poem analysis.